Good morning. It is Wednesday, August 14th. We're talking about fun stuff today. Fain, Trump, Musk, auto credit tightening, and AI becoming a consumer turnoff.
Everywhere I go, the people really want to know
what could possibly go wrong.
What could possibly go wrong with this morning in the show?
You can't avoid the politics. It's not really, I mean, it's political, but it's auto. You know, we were just having a blast talking about this live feed from a Waymo lot in San Francisco. We're going to talk about it on tomorrow's show, I think. It didn't make it today's show, but I think that's just because we didn't all watch it together.
Right. Once we started watching it, we were like, we could just talk about this for 20 minutes.
Tomorrow. Tune in tomorrow for the hot takes.
Start placing bets.
Waymo whole.
Right. Which one gets out first? Oh my goodness.
That's good.
All the people are still now everyone's like,
we're gonna gamify this at ASOTU CON. If you didn't know, you can go to ASOTUCon.com right now and you can see a little bit of a taste of the new aesthetic that's coming in 2025 in May. You can actually put your name on the first to know list. Names every day. We're watching the ticker every day. Names coming in. People saying, I want to be first to know what's going on at ASOTU CON. So never too early, right? It's May. Summer's over.
Let's go.
Summer's over. Is ASOTU CON officially in the spring? It is officially in the spring.
Or the fall. One of the two.
No, ASOTU CON's in the spring.
Oh, ASOTU CON's in the spring. I'll tell you what, I was actually talking to a buddy last night and I started just thinking through all of the things that happen toward the fall. I mean, we've got this thing in our daily email that's saying where we're going to be, and it only has 4. I think we're going to be at like 8 different places this fall. Yeah. But you start to line that up and everybody else is like jockeying for where you're going to be, what you're going to be doing, how you're going to prep for the new year. Like dealers are trying to figure out training protocols because of it's like the moving parts get going midway through August because you get to that selling season and it's like, all right, what's next? You know,
it's I don't even know what to expect, but it's going to be cool. Also, we're gearing up for season 2 of the More Than Cars docuseries. We have an episode to release tail end of season 1. Season 2, dealers are starting to line up. If you are interested in bringing the show to your store, just reach out, crew@asotu.com. We have some stuff. We packaged together some new things. It's a lot of fun. And we may have a couple of announcements as season 2 starts to shape up. And I think that's enough for the morning. People need the news. Air quotes. People need the news. All right, let's do it.
The news.
Need the news this morning. Well, let's talk about it. The UAW has filed federal labor charges against former President Donald Trump and Tesla CEO Elon Musk, accusing them of I'm going to accuse you of implied threatening actions against striking workers on. Basically, Elon Musk had Donald Trump on a Spaces, an X space. Is that what we call it? It used to be called Twitter Spaces, which is a live conversation. Over 1 million people were part of this live conversation. Trump suggested that employers could handle striking workers simply by firing them all. He described the scenario where, in response to a strike, an employer would tell workers, "That's okay, you're all gone," implying that all striking workers would be dismissed. Musk, while not directly quoted in the charges, has a history of anti-union statements and sentiments, further fueling the union's concern. Under federal law, as a reminder, employees can conduct lawful strikes for economic reasons such as higher wages. They can't be discharged for that action by their employers, but in certain instances can be replaced. The charges aim to highlight the UAW stance that Musk and Trump oppose workers' rights and are unlikely to have any practical impact. Like these things don't have a lot of teeth. It's more of a political statement. UAW president, you know him, you love him, Shawn Fain, he stated, "When we say Trump stands against everything our union stands for, this is what we mean. Bring back the Eat the Rich t-shirts."
Wow.
He didn't say that last part. That was mine.
That was added t-shirts for impact, right?
Yeah,
added
for
emphasis for impact. Yeah, whatever it is. So what's so interesting about this one to me is like the positioning of implication, right?
Jeez,
Nothing's actually been done here. There's no legal paperwork. There's no like, this is what we feel or say. And I think honestly,
they did file a thing.
Well, they filed a thing.
Yeah.
But on like the Elon Trump side, it's just like words said at a rally, basically, right?
Trump, and Musk never even said anything in that interaction. They said he laughed.
Yeah, I think what this points to is that there is this growing sentiment where kind of like the net new EV manufacturers and the legacy manufacturers and even some of their subsidiaries have this like battle and jockeying for position, and it goes all the way into the political spectrum. I would, I think the turn here is at a localized level. Recognize that I don't think consumers are caught up in that battle as much.
Not at all. I don't think they are at all.
And they are just looking for their next best vehicle. They're considering both almost at equal weights. You run into so many consumers where they're like, the Ford dealership. Well, which Ford dealership? No. The Ford,
owned by Ford, the company with the FORD blue.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they see like the majority of consumers now, some brands that lean in really, really well, but the majority of consumers just see a Ford dealership like a McDonald's outlet, right? Like a McDonald's franchise. And so like this type of political or relational positioning between legacy manufacturers and EVs and how even their unions are structured and how their workers are structured does not really seep into the consumer matrix. And so as dealership employees, we should not be considering that in like how we go to market or how we kind of like position ourselves. It's really just, it's always competitive conquest.
That's true. I don't know if there's anything else to add. I think this has just a lot to do with the state of Michigan, honestly. Like really, I mean, it's a battleground state. And so like OEMs get looped into it, workers get looped into it, people get leveraged, and Sean Fain's on the cover of Automotive News today. So he's happy.
I'm from Ohio. And so if you want to throw stones at Michigan, you feel free.
Yeah. Speaking of feeling free or not free, less than free. We love our daily email. If you don't get it, ASOTU.com, you should. Today it highlighted some recent Cox automotive data. Auto credit availability has been tightening for 4 consecutive months, creating challenges for dealers as customers find it increasingly difficult to secure loans, especially for used vehicles. Dealer Track Credit Availability Index dropped to 92.9% in July, which is down a full percentage point from June and 1.5 points down year over year. So continuing trend is used car loans through franchise dealers are seeing the most significant tightening. Banks are leading the way in tightening credit, marking the 5th consecutive month in stricter lending. Spread between the auto loan interest rates and other investments has also widened, making loans less appealing for consumers, additionally, more buyers are dealing with negative equity, asking for, further risk from lenders, tighter restrictions, higher interest rates. Consumer sentiment sees some optimism about the future, but concerns over the current economic situation at large, including high vehicle prices and interest rates in general, could potentially dampen the sideline buyer's willingness to make a purchase.
Yeah, if you're in a store, you're probably experiencing this already, so it's not new news. But the way to look at this is most likely mid-prime and subprime lending is getting restricted at this point, right? Prime lending is not as restrictive, except for there is restriction happening on the loan-to-value rates. So, the important takeaway from this is that when you are looking at putting the customer on the right vehicle or structuring the right loan or understanding the negative equity going into a deal, it's important to understand the entire deal structure so that you have the best possible opportunity of going into the negotiation or financing or the acquisition of credit, with the best foot forward, because you recognize like, hey, loan to values are, shrinking. Banks aren't as willy-nilly with their 130s, 135, 140%, carries. And also when you look at sub and mid prime, you've got to be on the right vehicle with the right equity position to be able to acquire that loan. So it's really like a strategic thing from hello on understanding the customer, understanding their needs and wants, and understanding the potential deal structure so that you can head into the finance office appropriately.
And they're not sponsoring the show, but our good friend Matt Lasher over at West Her and the team there do have a product called Streamline that helps with this exact issue. And I'm sure they're seeing an uptick that helps like show customers vehicles based on what will actually get bought, because no two $20,000 cars are the same.
Not at all.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
Speaking of not at all, or not a lot.
Segue.
Contrary to the NADA show floor, a recent study reveals that the term artificial intelligence or AI in marketing is increasingly a red flag for consumers, suggesting a growing skepticism toward AI-powered products. The study surveyed 1,000 adults, which is kind of the Gallup results and the way the actuaries love it, that AI mentions lowered product appeal. Emotional trust drops significantly when AI is referenced, reducing purchase intentions. AI in high-risk purchases like electronics or medical devices exacerbates safety concerns right now. Forrester's December 2023 survey, so a bit ago, shows a split in consumer sentiment, with only 29% trusting Gen AI and 73% demanding transparency when companies use AI. A lead author and clinical assistant professor of marketing at Washington State University, Mountsier, said, when AI is mentioned, it tends to lower emotional trust, which in turn decreases purchase intentions.
How about
really
that?
Interesting in comparison to maybe the B2B results of something like this.
Absolutely. And so like, I think everyone's very anxious to use the letters AI in like, hey, to show, I mean, obviously the stock market momentum behind it, to show that we're forward thinking, we're thinking of the customer, we're thinking of you. But this saying, when consumers hear it, they don't hear the same thing the business managers hear.
Isn't
right?
That wild?
They're like, because I think everyone's had that experience with some AI bot, right? Where it's delivered some weird thing, or it's janky, or it's slow. And like the question, like, am I talking to a human, comes up probably more in the chats. And especially, it makes sense. The more expensive a purchase or technical a purchase, you might start to question, because anyone who's used like ChatGPT understands that, you know, quote unquote, hallucinations are a real thing, where all of a sudden it starts feeding you information and you're like, is that real?
You're
is
like,
it not real?
You know, the thing that frustrates me, honestly, like you see like Meta AI, and you see some of these like public facing consumer brands, Gemini coming into Google search, right? Becoming a little bit more widespread. You know, and then like in the Olympics, I was watching Salesforce, you know, promote their AI, because so many users out there are on Salesforce for their business interactions. But the interesting thing to me here is that so much of AI is baked into chat products. And I'm telling you what, that is the place where I get most frustrated not talking to a human. And I understand the gap between like human payment for things that can possibly be automated, like the you know, the skills matrix of needing to train and hire humans versus allowing an AI. But Josh Orr just in the LinkedIn comments said human empathy and genuine connection will forever be the driving factor of sales, period. And I completely agree. Like, if you can figure out the human capital equation of leveraging AI in a B2B scenario to have your B2C scenario be humanly empathetic, that's the win.
There you go. I agree. But look, we can guarantee one thing. There is zero AI in this show where you and I and Kyle are talking. Zero. We are real people. You are real people. Go out there, serve some real people. See how that works?